Hi, my name is Melody Gray Eyes, and I want to share with you some of the thoughts I had when I first became a believer. I felt like I was dropped into the middle of this story, and I didn't really know where I was because I didn't know the end and I didn't know the beginning. But when we see in God's word, there actually is a beginning and an end. And in Jewish tradition, that's often the same place where something begins, it will also end. And so, where did it begin? It began in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. And God made the earth, and it was beautiful and it was perfect. And He walked with them, and they listened to Him and they followed His ways. And it was wonderful and beautiful. And that's actually what God intends at the very end, also. This beautiful, perfect place. And so God has this word, it's called tshuva. It means to return. And this is where we're at right now, too. God created each one of us very specifically. He had a destiny for each one of us. And we are actually in this process of returning to God's original intention for our lives. And so we see in the Garden of Eden where Adam and Eve made this choice not to follow God. And we can do that same thing. But do we want to get back to that perfect place where we are following God's destiny for our life? Where we will actually come into this perfect place. And it is God's intention to bring us back to that same place. And we're in the midst of this story right now. God says in Isaiah 66 that He is going to create a new heaven and a new earth, and it's going to be even better than what we experience today. And so that's just a beautiful hope that we have, that even though sometimes we're in the middle of this story and we don't really know where we're going, or in fact what our destiny is at the moment, we know where it's going to end. But what has to happen in order for that to come about, this new heaven and the new earth? Well, it says in the word that the Messiah, the Israel must receive their Messiah before He returns to the earth, because we know that that's one thing that has to happen before the new heaven and the new earth, is that Jesus, the Christ, has to come back to the earth, rule and reign for 1,000 years, and then the new heaven and the new earth will be created, and we will live in that glorious place once again. But what has to happen before this time? So when Jesus was on the earth, He was speaking to the leaders of the day, the Sanhedrin, and He said, "You, the Jewish people, will not see me again until you say, Baruch haba b'Shem Adonai." And what that means is until they say, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." And the meaning of that is until the Jewish people declare that Yeshua, Jesus, is their Messiah, only then will He return. And so if we are looking forward to this new heaven and new earth, we have to understand that before Jesus comes back, the Jewish people have to receive salvation. They have to declare that Jesus is their Messiah. And so this is a part of our calling as Gentiles, as non-Jewish people, to pray for the salvation of the Jewish people, because only then will He return. And we are in such a time today where there is much uncertainty, much fear, where many people may be at that point in their lives, as we all were at one time, where we were crying out to the Lord because we were in fear, or we were in confusion, or we were just seeking the Lord because we didn't understand what was going on, but we knew there was something greater. And so this is a time that we can pray for the salvation of the Jewish people. This is one of our callings as Gentiles, is to provoke the Jewish people to jealousy. And so this is our opportunity to pray for their salvation. So I encourage you to do do so, read Romans 11. It talks all about how the Gentiles have been grafted into the olive tree, which is Israel. And when we are together, this is the beauty that God desires, this unity between the Jews and the Gentiles. And so may we have a heart that says, come. Come, Jewish people, come to know your Messiah so that we can be that one new man that God calls us to be in Ephesians 2:15, the Jews and the Gentiles together in Messiah. So bless you as you read the word and as you pray for the salvation of God's covenant people.